This is going to be your guide to catching Pokemon in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Now, this seems like a really weird video, right? Because you just wait for the right time, you flick the Pokeball, GG easy, except it's not quite that simple. Also, I want to kind of inform people that might not understand about all the controls and how everything works. Did you know you can effectively, like, play Pokemon Snap? You can use the control stick, you can actually move around the area, and then you can target a Pokemon, press the A button, and then catch it that way. Also, I want to explore handheld mode, as well as the Pokeball Plus, and then talk about the pros and cons of all the different methods. And I just want to give advice overall, because as you get into the higher areas of Pokemon, you know, the Pokeball just ain't going to cut it. Sometimes you're on that last shake of an Ultra Ball on an excellent throw, and it just wasn't enough to catch a Pokemon, so there's going to be a lot of frustration. And I feel like the Joy-Con, it's really rough. If you start getting frustrated and the Pokemon start moving around stuff, you're going to make some really wacky throws. And if you watch my live stream, I'll leave a link in the description, where I just played the game 11 hours straight, there were some times where it's like, why is this happening, you know? Hi. Dude, she's sassy. Look at that lean back going on. Oh, I ain't messing with her. Nope. It's as I was throwing it, man. It's so hard to hook it that far to the right. There. Oh my goodness. Joy-Con calibration's a little funk. There we go. Wait a second. That wasn't quite centered. Wait. I think I know what I'm doing wrong. What happens if I move my arm? Huh. I don't know these angles. I feel like it... Okay, thanks, game. Say the Pokemon's like drifting around left to right, and you try to throw it to the side, and then it goes straight. Like, did you see that? So the calibration on the Joy-Con is kind of weird. And also, if say like the Pokemon breaks out, and you're like, no, I had that. That should have happened. You get ready and like you throw it all back and stuff, and now you gotta throw it in these weird directions, and that wasn't far enough. You know, you have to really go for it on the Joy-Con, and it just. Even after a little bit of playing, you start to get better at it, but that's one thing you have to understand. So my advice with the Joy-Con is that you have to be a Zen master. You need patience, you need to take a deep breath, you need to not worry, and then after time, you start to get the muscle memory, you start to get the right throws, you start to feel it a little better, but I just feel like the learning curve of the Joy-Con is surprisingly high for what the natural way of playing the game is. Which brings us to the Pokeball Plus. I love this thing. This has given me some of the best experiences catching Pokemon. Like, if you think you're good with the Joy-Con, or you're getting better, or you think the Joy-Con is all right, the Pokeball Plus is just a straight marvel. Now, to switch controllers, you just go to menu, or you go to options, open controller settings, and then it just asks you to redo it. Pokeball Plus, really easy and simple to set up. Also, I recommend the wrist strap. I don't like the key ring, or not the key ring, but like the finger ring as much. But you know, at least put it on just in case. That way you don't throw it away. And also, if you don't have the wrist strap on and you're just like flailing it around, it starts rubbing against your arm and it can feel a little weird. But with this, it's good. Now you see that? That's the biggest problem with the Pokeball Plus, is because people don't read that. They don't look at it, and they try to hold the Pokeball Plus their way. Now, if you hold it as intended, it just works flawlessly. You know, you use your index finger or middle finger for the B button or menu options and stuff like that, and then it's not too bad to roll around with. You just need to hold it upright. And if you're doing that, you're good to go. I've seen people that are like trying to use it like this, and that kind of makes things a little awkward. You know, they're trying to use it like a controller. And the thing is, this actually feels less natural, you know, if you're trying to do something like that, even if it's all down. Now, if you just have it like this, you're good to go and you're not going to have any problems. And I've been getting more excellent throws. I've been getting more responsiveness from the Pokeball Plus than any other method that I've been using, and it's just crazy like that. Also, it's really cool because it lights up. I don't know if you can see that really well on camera. And even for like the awkward throws, like look at that, Jigglypuff's all floating around, it's on the side. You know, I give it the right, I throw it where I think it's going to go, and the Pokeball Plus goes with that. Anyone that's used it, they're all saying that it feels more responsive. You know, it feels like there's more lag to the Joy-Con, but the Pokeball Plus registers a good throw as you're throwing it. So it feels like it's actually working as intended, and things are pretty solid overall. Now, my only complaint is that it does make you hold it in kind of an awkward way, but it feels right. No, it feels like a good Pokeball. It has good weight to it, has good balance. You know, there's not too much wrong with it, but I feel like, you know, after playing for 5-6 hours, or if you're on like a really long thing, can cramp up the wrist, can make things feel a little awkward. I don't like the position my bottom two fingers are in, because they're all like scrunched together because I'm trying to get a good grip on it. But everything else is pretty nice on it, and it just works. It just feels good. So that's like actually a big reason why I wanted to make this video, is just talk about how cool the Pokeball Plus is. And you know, it's a very viable, very competent way of catching Pokemon. And even then, like, that would have not worked with the Joy-Con, where you're just like, whatever, motions, do that. Because it's always, I think it's because of the way you hold it. It's like always calibrated. If you're holding it properly, it doesn't matter if you're like down here and you just give it like a little flick. If Jigglypuff didn't take off, that would have worked. And you can just kind of throw it to the left and right and get it where you want it to go. So it's easier to target, easier to use. Pokeball Plus, it works. Now, handheld mode is where things start getting really interesting for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because we have gyroscope. So yeah, you don't only have to do motion controls, but then people were like, well, what about disabled people and stuff like that? Well, all you have to do is use the joystick. So you can actually move it around with the left joystick, but not the right one, and then you can try to line it up and then throw a Pokeball at the Pokemon that way. Also, you can do that with the gyroscope as well. Now, it kind of like automatically calibrates when you do get ready, so you can kind of cheese this in a pretty interesting way. Like if it's just flat on a surface, and then you just go and press the A button, it's going to go straight to center. And depending on when you time that, you can get some pretty easy throws like that. So great, excellent throws, super easy. And if playing in handheld mode, you can still have a really good time playing this game, because if you just lock your hands, like say you're curled up or you just have your arm in a good position to where it's not shaking, you know, we can do something like this. Let's have it like this. It's braced against something. Oh, that kind of spices things up. But then we can maybe like try to target the Pokemon that way and throw it. So the thing is, this has a massive advantage against Pokemon that don't move or aren't very active. But if they start moving and floating around and stuff, then they start getting a bit trickier. That's kind of like what I want to show with this video as well, is that, yeah, you can actually move around, try to target Pokemon, but I don't recommend this at all unless you absolutely have to use it or you want to use it. And even with the gyroscope, like, it doesn't interfere too much, and if you're on a flat surface, I'm just more or less explaining this as the Pokemon runs away, you can have some interesting results. So that's pretty much it for the controls when it comes to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but there is another thing I want to talk about when it came to the control stick, as well as the motion controls and the gyroscope, because I remember this article from October. Pokemon Let's Go will be the first in the franchise that I can't play. Now, this goes into like the physical disability element of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but kind of shows that Game Freak thought through it enough to maybe make sure that everyone had a chance of playing. Because, yeah, if you have any kind of limited mobility in your arm or whatever, then it's going to be really hard to just keep throwing Pokeballs all day long. And even in handheld mode, there were concerns, so let's go and skip down to that part right here. When in handheld mode, you must use motion controls to aim the Pokeball with a button press to throw. However, recently published an updated statement from Nintendo, which notes an option that supposedly circumvents motion controls when in handheld mode. By placing the Switch on a hard, flat surface, the game can be played in a more traditional way, using the left joystick to aim in place of physical gestures. However, the latest update from Nintendo and the Pokemon Company confirms motion controls automatically kick in if the system is moved while in handheld mode. While playing on Fight Table might be acceptable for workaround for certain disabled gamers, the complete inability to turn off motion controls in handheld mode can still be problematic for others. Example, when I utilize my Switch, I continuously shift the system within my hands. This allows me to comfortably and effectively play games. I accidentally tilt the tablet, that would register the gyro camera function that occurs in the handheld mode that would prevent me from playing the game. Now, I don't know if the disability or if his fidgeting is serious enough to actually make the game unplayable, but it looks like the way that was interpreted made it seem like the catch reset, or that gyro controls would completely take over and you wouldn't be able to use the control stick at all. But as I showed, you can use the control stick while the gyro controls are happening, so at least if you can get it relatively stable, you're going to be able to use that control. Even if like you're tilting to move the control a bit, the control stick can still be a fairly reliable way of catching Pokemon, and also the gyro controls, they don't shake too much. You know, a lot of the Pokemon for the stationary encounters, as long as you can still like press the A button to get the capture going through, it seems like it still works. Now, the way that it is like a little fidgety and it is hard to track down certain Pokemon can still put some people at a disadvantage, but I think it still makes the game playable, and that is something that I wanted to cover at least for a bit. So there we go, guys. That's how the controls work in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And just like a quick review of what happened, the Joy-Con, it works, but you kind of have to like calibrate it just right, and you have to make sure that you're doing everything properly, or else it can spaz out quite a bit. Pokeball Plus, if you give it a chance, like whenever people complain that the Pokeball Plus doesn't work, I'm really confused, because those are people that just like, they don't like Let's Go, they're not trying hard enough, they're just trying to meme, they're not holding the Pokeball Plus properly. They consider that joke as well. I mean, if you use anything improperly, it's not going to function. So depending on like what their experiences were, if they use the Joy-Con, they're going to realize the Pokeball Plus is actually quite a bit more functional than just using the Joy-Con or something. So I think Pokeball Plus is great. It's a lot more responsive, it does exactly what you tell it to, and it works pretty well. in handheld mode, the game works. If you just want to lounge around and play Pokemon, you can catch a lot of Pokemon easily. It gets a little trickier when the Pokemon start flying around. And like in general, just the Joy-Con on the Nintendo Switch, or the control stick on the Nintendo Switch, isn't the most reliable. You know, it's not quick and snappy. It's not good for any kind of first-person shooter game or anything. So if Pokemon's being really erratic, that could create some problems for you right there. And I really don't like using it that way, but everything else kind of works. So that's just a breakdown of how to catch Pokemon. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.